Hey guys, welcome back. So with this one, we're jumping back into night terrors, and as we jump from one worst nightmare to the other, we've made our way to the Joker. And on the surface, we're given the expected narrative, but in addition, there's also a deeper and darker joke that a majority of this story tells us in a very cryptic way. But before we slide into it, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get your spills every week, and don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squad up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so with us jumping back into the Night Terrors event, we were shown in Night Terrors First Blood, Issue 1, a villain by the name of Insomnia, who was recently freed, and not only did he bring nightmare constructs into the real world, but he also placed the entire planet into a sleep state, where everyone, hero, villain, whoever, are all forced to endure their worst nightmare. And now we get to find out how that looks for the Joker. And going into his nightmare, it starts off like your regular run between him and Batman. Rooftop on a stormy night in Gotham, with Batman telling the Joker to give up, it's over. But on this night, when Batman goes to grab the Joker, he misses, he slips, and he face plants like something off a Tony Hawk Pro Skater, only to then slide right off of the roof. And with seeing this happen, the Joker cracks a bit of a joke, telling Batman it looked like it hurt, and he probably needs shoes with better traction, and I'll be honest, that made me chuckle. But after Batman slides off this roof face first, the Joker's just confused, and he's asking his goons, did they do something to make the roof more slippery? What happened? Is this some kind of trick? But then with going down to the ground to check out the body, not only is Batman unresponsive, but his limbs are very much looking like this is the Batman with the bones sold separately, or as if Peter Griffin was Batman for the day. It's not looking good. So one of the Joker's men's like, yeah, boss, you should poke him. But the Joker's like, nah, you poke him. That's what I pay you for, to do things like that. So the guy starts poking Batman, but nothing happens. And the Joker's like, maybe he's unconscious, so the dude flips Batman over, only to realize that he's dead. So at first, the Joker just has his guys steal a car, they throw Batman in the trunk, and they eventually head to a diner, because at this point the Joker doesn't even know what he wants to do. Because for years, it hasn't been the Joker's intention to just kill Batman and do away with him. But instead, for the Joker, it's been a routine, where it's rare that the Joker really cares about the outcome of his crazy antics, as he does the back and forth of the dance itself. But with as long as the Joker has been around, we also seen the side where he does care, whether it was shooting Barbara Gordon and driving Jim out of his mind. And to me, I would like to think if there's anything that the Joker cares about as much as his back and forth with Batman, if there had to be a close second, then it would have to be him bringing out a different side of people, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Because for two quick examples, for one, you got Jason Todd. The Joker killed him to hurt Batman, but when Jason Todd came back as the Red Hood, to the Joker that was just a bonus. And as far as intentionally, one of my favorite examples is what we got in Three Jokers, when he told Batman that he had him save the man who killed his parents, Thomas and Martha Wayne, so the Joker could heal Batman's greatest wound. And the only reason that the Joker healed that wound was so that he could now be Batman's greatest pain, so that he could stab Bruce and give him a fresh new wound, so that the Joker could twist that knife until the two of them finally die together. But I bring this up just to kind of paint the picture of how empty the Joker feels in this moment, because Batman gave him purpose, and now with Batman gone, the Joker really just doesn't see the point of exercising his capabilities without having his equal opposite on the other end to do this dance with him time and time again. But while they're here at this diner, one of his guys are like, well, we killed Batman, we should go kill Superman next, because Superman's probably gonna be mad now that Batman's dead. So the Joker's like, yeah, we can kill Superman, but how are we gonna do that? And the Joker's like, did we kill Batman though? Did we? Or did he just slip and fall off the roof like a moron? Cause that's another thing, the Joker, he's not just gonna take credit for that. But over time, they just toss different ideas at him, like killing Green Arrow, and the Joker's pretty much like, yeah, whatever, I guess. So they let him know it doesn't have to be that, but they've gotta do something. And lo and behold, 2 days later, these guys are pirates. And they make their way onto a ship just to take whatever it's on it. So after killing the entire crew except for one guy who's probably the captain, the Joker asks this guy, what is he transporting? And the dude just tells the Joker unrefined uranium ore. And he lets the Joker know where it is on the ship. He tells him that it's not locked down, there's no security or booby traps, and there's no secret paramilitary team waiting to ambush them. The uranium ore is just all there for the taking. Which for the Joker, this just has him like, where's the fun in that? So he just kills the guy and tells his men to go ahead and take the plutonium. And his men are like, it's uranium, sir. And he's like, yeah, whatever, just take it. We'd probably make a bomb out of it or something. Which just goes to show that the Joker, he's got it bad. But one of his henchmen by the name of Gaggy, this guy doesn't get it because he shows the Joker the newspaper with the headline reading "Crime Wave in Gotham, where is Batman?" And Gaggy lets the Joker know. And I'm sorry, that name Gaggy is just funny. Because if I'm not mistaken, his full name is like Gagsworth A. Gagsworthy. And I mean, it's just funny how some names age over time. But he points out to the Joker with the crime wave going crazy. Other criminals are making a killing, while the Joker's just at his hideout eating some nasty cereal. And the Joker lets him know that he'd rather just rewatch Real Housewives of Metropolis. So Gaggy just tosses up the paper and leaves because he's trying to get to the bag. But with the newspaper flying around, one of the pages lands on the Joker's lap, showing him that there's a job opening at Wayne Enterprises. So with the Joker having nothing else better to do, he heads right down there to apply for the job. But when he does, we come to find out that he's being interviewed by Insomnia, who once again is the cause of the whole world being asleep and going through their nightmare. But he lets the Joker know that he's filling the position of Mr. Armstrong because he got arrested for hijacking a boat, and he tells the Joker you may have heard something about it. But nonetheless, with him giving the Joker this job, the Joker tells him thanks, he's excited to join the team, and that he believes that this job will give him the real sense of purpose that his life has just been missing. But as soon as the Joker gets access to his computer, he's typing in the database things like, "Where's all the money?" only for it to say invalid data request. So he then types in secret weapons projects, only for invalid data request to come up again. Then suddenly a co-worker by the name of Helen walks up saying "Gotcha." But really she's only come here to make nice and introduce herself and see how the Joker's doing with getting acclimated with his new position. So he tells her his computer's broken, he can't access the money, any of the secret files, the blueprints, or the lists of people to bribe, which Helen just thinks is hilarious. But with the Joker not being sure what was so funny, in this conversation he eventually asks Helen, what is it exactly that they do here, since they don't have access to the money? And for a while Helen doesn't give him a straight answer, so the Joker guesses, do we decide where the money goes? And Helen's just like, heavens no, that's for the people on the 65th floor. So then the Joker's like, okay, we just move the money around. And Helen's like, no, that's for the people on the 53rd floor. So then the Joker's like, okay, so we make sure it was spent where it was supposed to be. And Helen's like, no, that's for the people on the 48th floor. And after doing this song and dance for a while, she starts to give the Joker this long answer saying how the company's like a car. And right there, the Joker's like, I get it. We're the corporate accounting seatbelt. To where then she's like, oh no, we're the seatbelt protector. And I gotta tell you, when I first read this, the look on the Joker's face sent me. Because as it turns out, his job is to approve the approvals. And with him hearing this, he's tempted to go back to his old ways. Like Helen almost brought out the old Joker. But she goes on to show him that he just didn't log in, and that's all it was. And after some time, we then find the Joker in the break room pouring some coffee while letting his co-workers know that he used to work at a calendar factory until he got fired for taking a day off, which I mean, I thought it was funny. But while he's here, he's pulled to the side by Mr. Griffin Goodman, with him telling the Joker that they need to talk about his performance because the Joker's numbers are off, and Mr. Goodman tells him that his graph looks like a man being deflowered by either a dog or a boar. He's not really sure. So the Joker takes a look and he's like, nah, I don't see it. But in the middle of this conversation, the Joker goes to the microwave. He picks it up and he slams it on Mr. Goodman's head, with it still being plugged in, so the Joker turns it on, only to then leave the break room and go home at 9:45 like nothing happened. So the next day, the Joker comes back to work, giving this huge speech, which isn't really a nice one, but he stands on top of his desk and tells everyone how they're worthless and how their families aren't gonna mourn their deaths, which is mean, but at the same time, it is his nightmare, so who's he really talking to? But while he's here, Mr. D calls him into the office, with Mr. D once again being Insomnia. But he calls the Joker into his office to tell him the terrible news about what happened to Mr. Goodman with his incident in the break room. And with hearing this, the Joker's just acting surprised, like he don't know what happened. But as Insomnia goes on to tell the Joker how it's believed that Mr. Goodman had done this to himself, while the Joker's just putting on a gas mask and revealing that he's got himself strapped with explosives. But with seeing this, Insomnia just laughs it off, and he tells the Joker, who's been going by the name of Johan this whole time, he tells him that what they say about him is true and that he's a real jokester. And Insomnia goes on to tell him how he's such a rising star in this company, and that Bruce Wayne himself has taken a liking to him, and with Mr. Goodman dead, a better position had just opened up as Regional Management Assessment Vice Supervisor. But the part that the Joker's hung up on, it's the whole Bruce Wayne thing. So when Insomnia goes on to say that if they don't turn things around with the deaths and the arrests that have been happening, Batman himself's gonna pay them a visit here on the 9th floor. So of course, the Joker's like, oh, hold up. Batman's dead. And Insomnia, much like everyone else, just takes it as a joke. And we see the same thing when the Joker goes on to give a presentation, because he says a sly remark about the late Mr. Goodman, and everybody here is just rolling, and the Joker doesn't like it, not one bit. So he ends the meeting and he sends everyone home, only to then get invited out for drinks for Randy's birthday, and that's Randy over in shipping, for those who were wondering. But of course, this invitation catches the Joker off guard, and I guess it's because some of these guys don't want to go out drinking with their new boss, and as it turns out, a lot of these guys are on that same vibe, because when they go for drinks, the Joker turns up a little too hard, and I mean at least for their taste, because for him, he's barely moving the meter here. But after the celebration just fizzles down, the Joker just leaves while saying, don't want to drink with me, it's fine, it's gonna poison y'all anyway. Maybe. But just after leaving the bar, the Joker notices that he's being followed, and it causes his brisk walk to turn into a sprint. So he cuts into the alley to get rid of these guys, but as soon as he does, he's met with a bat. Man, and from there he's just getting stomped. But he holds his own, he gets one of these guys and gouges his eyes out, but then when two of them grab Joker, they take him to their boss. And come to find out, it's Gagsworth A. Gagsworthy, who at first didn't know who his men were manhandling. But to the Joker's surprise, Gaggy's ventured out into something less impressive, and when Gaggy asks where the Joker's been, the Joker tells him he's been working. And for a moment, Gaggy goes on saying how him and the others, they didn't know what happened to the Joker. They've been looking for him, and when they heard Batman came back, they got worried. But the Joker just tells Gaggy he ain't gotta lie. And as he walks off, he leaves a bit of advice, telling Gaggy to find something that gives him purpose, because he can't just sit around forever waiting for a man in a bat costume to assault you, because what kind of life is that? And so the next day when the Joker goes back to work, Helen sees that his face is all banged up, and the Joker's like, it's nothing, you should see the other guy. I gouged his eyes out in an alley. Which right there just reminds me about another one of my Joker theories, because I also believe that there's times when the Joker will do little things, little cruel things, just to make his future joke an actual fact. And come to think of it, I may revisit that in another video. But with the Joker sharing this with Helen, another co-worker is like, the crime in this town's really getting out of control. Where's Batman when you need him? And the Joker responds by saying that he has Batman's corpse in his closet at home, and his co-workers are just cracking up, knee slapping and all that. But then one of these guys tells the Joker that his wife Cynthia got mugged the other night when she was out for a walk. And at first the Joker's like, oh my god, no, Cynthia, is she okay? But then the guy's like, she's fine, cause Batman saved her and he even got her purse back. And right away the Joker just spits out his drink. He's like, what do you mean? Who did? Are you sure it was Batman? Did Cynthia see him? And the guy's like, yeah, she saw him, because he doesn't think that there's a lot of other people running around dressed like a giant bat. So the Joker just walks off saying it's more than you might think. But as he makes his way home, in what seems like a regular stroll home after work, he sees the bat symbol in the sky and he kind of scoffs at it. But as he goes home, I can't help but to think about when the Joker made his remark earlier about gouging the guy's eyes out and how his co-workers thought it was hilarious and he hated that they found it funny, much like his joke about Mr. Goodman, as well as the Joker just telling them that he has Batman's corpse in his closet. Because usually when the Joker says these types of things, he doesn't get a reaction, like in the actual world outside of his nightmare. Usually in those cases when nobody gets it, you'll notice the Joker a little bummed about it. So now in this nightmare where everybody's getting every joke, to the Joker it doesn't even matter anymore, because what is it even worth if Batman's gone? But either way, when the Joker gets home, he turns on the news and he hears this report about Wayne Enterprises facing huge penalties from the IRS because their numbers were off, and I mean, we know why. But then the news broadcaster says Bruce Wayne himself issued a statement saying that he was embarrassed by the report and he will personally be getting to the bottom of how this happened. And it then has the Joker like, good, go get him, Bruce. Almost as if he's waiting for a man who's not in the bat costume to come assault him, because what type of life is that? But as the Joker goes on to listen to the news and it talks about the Batman, he'd much rather watch Real Housewives, because if he's going to watch some fake reality TV, at least let it be a parody of something that's funny. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/Dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.